Big E's supposed reported push has seemingly been dropped. I am Corporate Chopper. I'm joined by Randy Andy Datson. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast review of SmackDown, the go-home episode for Survivor Series, no less. And yeah, the plans for Big E, supposedly, after his singles split in the draft, where Woods and Kingston went over to Raw and he stayed on SmackDown, the reported plan was that WWE have big plans for him. Those plans then apparently got dropped, and then seemingly there were other reports saying that they had no plans for him now. But then there was a new report that came out as early as yesterday, the day before, saying that...
Definitely the last few days.
Yeah, that they've got plans for him again. Those plans being he's going to be the final member of Team SmackDown because they had one TBD left on the men's team. So the plan was for Big E to join up on the team, presumably by winning a qualifying match, because that's what they've been doing the whole time, is qualifying matches. So then we get to SmackDown itself last night, and Big E's role in the show was to hype up Survivor Series and trash talk Street Profits, which is what he'd been doing the last 3 weeks. And that actually kicked off the show. Street Profits came out and they plugged Survivor Series a lot, like they used to do for Raw when they were the NXT Tag Team Champions, and just came out and be like, we've got this on Survivor, we've got The Undertaker, we've got the Brand Warfare, we've got this, we've got that. And then they did impressions of Undertaker, and I was like, okay, but also I'd like to see a show tonight, if possible. The lights went out and started flickering, and Big E came up from the depths wearing a sombrero, and they said, why are you wearing a sombrero? And he said, it's all there was in props. And then they went back and forth about who's going to win between Street Profits and the New Day. And then the New Day came out on SmackDown. Woods and Kingston, Raw Tag Team Champions.
It often feels like the New Day are given pretty decent sort of free reign over their material. This didn't feel like one of those moments. This felt written by someone in the back who was like, oh, what's funny? Oh, Big E in a sombrero. Okay. Yeah, that's really funny. And then out came the New Day without Big E.
Without Big E. Mm-hmm.
So this was the kind of start of the, what's going on here? Because he kind of got a bit at the start. And from what I understand, Vince McMahon does think Big E is funny. And fair enough, Big E is a very funny person. And I'm now worried that that's what Big E is going to be. He's going to be a guy who wears silly hats. So he didn't come out with a New Day, who then cut a promo. And then out comes Baron Corbin and they're so boring that I forget who they are. Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is not boring. And then Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. And then they all start having a fight, and Big E still doesn't come out. Out come the Street Profits in a kind of, oh, who saw that one coming? Oh, how will they coexist? And they all have a fight. And then later in the show, we find out that Big E's not the fifth man, and at no point is there a promo from Big E saying, "Oh, damn it, I wish that had been me," or there's no promo from him going, "Oh well, I thought you had to qualify. I mean, Otis has already lost his qualifier. What's going on here?" And so it just feels like, I mean, optimistic. I'm going to be optimistic and say they're just going to hold off until after Survivor Series, do a restart, because unfortunately Survivor Series just kills every single feud. I'm going to be optimistic, but the lack of Big E in segments which he really should have been in is trouble. It troubles me.
Yes, and I don't know whether, I think it's a good idea. It was a smart idea for them to not reunite the New Day and not have all three of them together again, because they've just done their emotional breakup like a month ago, and seeing them all three back together on the same show that Woods and Kingston had to leave would have been really dumb. But also seeing Woods and Kingston without Big E when he was right there is also really dumb. So the solution is don't put Woods and Kingston on SmackDown, because it just undermines the whole farewell thing that you did on SmackDown. And it's not like they acted like we forgot about it. Corbin even mentioned it in his promo, and like, didn't you leave SmackDown like a month ago? It's like, he's saying what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that seems to be the general opinion on social media, which is this has just completely undermined the whole, I can't believe we're leaving SmackDown, we're leaving Big E behind. Here they are again. And honestly, because it's only been a few weeks, it was kind of like, oh, they're here. This is the new day, and it just. And the only difference was they had a red belt. It didn't feel like it was. Oh man, Raw stars. What are you doing here?
And that was a running theme throughout the whole show, because they just had all the Raw people here, because you had the New Day coming over, you had Asuka, and you had Drew McIntyre. They were all there, and they were all like invited over. No invasion or anything. It was just like, they're here.
Poor Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Was the only one who did. But like, this doesn't. And the whole point of Survivor Series apparently is like brand warfare, is bragging rights 2009. And the fact that they're all just being invited, it's like, wow. It's like when Retribution signed a contract. Like it's the complete opposite of, you just completely undermine it. Like, we are here to destroy WWE. Oh really? Oh great. Here's a contract for you to keep doing that. And then it's, oh well, they hate each other, these brands. Why don't you come over to our brand? And like, because wrestling is people having a fight. Why would you invite someone over who might try and beat up your brand's wrestlers?
Yeah, it was weird. And it didn't make any sense for New Day either, because in their promo that they were cutting, they were like, oh yeah, we could defend the Raw Tag Team Championships tonight. It's like, how mad would the USA execs that apparently govern everything over Raw, because that was who was in charge of the draft apparently, how mad would they have been if they'd have gone over to SmackDown and dropped the Raw Tag Team titles to a SmackDown team? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. And then they would have been out of the match at Survivor Series, so it wouldn't even have been a brand versus brand match. It would have been the Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, which had the Raw Tag Team titles, but are a SmackDown. Doesn't make any sense, mate.
We can harp on about Survivor Series not making sense for the rest of our lives.
That's true. It's
tomorrow. It's over. I know it's one of the big five, and I know it's been going on for
big four.
30 years.
Thank you very much.
I swear they changed it to a big five.
Well, they haven't. I think fans haven't started to include Money in the Bank because it's just better than Survivor Series. But Survivor Series by default is a big four.
So and that's why they get rid of it. But I mean I've said it before, and Sean Rossap tweeted about it last night, saying King of the Ring. That's a yearly thing that has stakes, because if you win King of the Ring, you get a title shot, or you can have this, or they can even do like a King of the Ring. It's almost just like a tournament for the championship. Like, there are 8 people at the start of the night, 8 men, 8 women, 4 from each brand. They all have battle fights, and then there's like, and that's easy to make stories, but there's just nobody cares about Survivor Series, and you can tell that the people even wrestling don't care, because they're just pretending that there are stakes. And I know we keep saying this, but yeah. Anyway, Big E, yes, Big E. Yeah, so I'm hoping that this is just a holding off on it, but
yes,
it's hard to be optimistic with WWE.
And just for clarification's sake, because I don't know if we've made it clear yet, the last member of the team is Otis. Adam Pearce, who's definitely not the GM, was just backstage and said, I got to pick the last member of the Survivor Series team. Hold up, I have several questions, but he carried on and said, I just wanted to pick you, with the ups and downs and your whole journey and your career, I had to go for you. And the camera pans across, and it's Otis. And then Chad Gable comes in and goes, you got picked. Yeah, you Alpha Academy, or whatever he said. And they walked off to be really happy.
Yeah. So I guess they're spinning the Alpha Academy plate. Maybe Chad Gable's had a word in Adam Pearce's ear, I almost called Adam Pearson's ear, Adam Pearce's ear, he was like that kind of, oh, Adam, it's your birthday. You can pick one member for each team. He's like, oh, really? Oh, well, I'll pick spoiler for later. So I'll pick Bailey for the women's team. Which why not just have Bailey squash someone?
Also, why did he get to pick one member of the SmackDown women's team? Why could he not just pick both? He's not an authority figure, but he has the authority to pick at least one. So why can't he pick two? Why the limit on what? Who made the limit for him to be able to pick one?
Yeah, it's very strange. And then Natalya also qualified. Again, we'll talk about this later. And this is like her 9th attempt at qualifying. So it's just like And
Otis got picked when he lost his qualifier to Seth.
Do one or the other. Have him say, look, I know she hasn't qualified yet. And instead of giving her a 2-minute match against Tamina, say, but Natalya, she's incredibly experienced, former women's champion. She's the sort of person we need on our team. And there is an image. I wish. Actually, I might put it into the back end while you're talking next. That really summed up why I hated this whole thing. But should we talk about the rest of the show before I do that?
Yes, let's do that. So the show itself kicked off with, as we mentioned, the Street Profits segment with Biggie coming out in his sombrero and stuff. New Day's promo I thought wasn't great, wasn't up to the New Day standard. It was a bit weird. Sami Zayn interrupts, then says he's facing Lashley at Survivor Series. There's your build for that match. And then, King Corbin comes out and says, how are you going to stand for that, Sami? They're running you down with their words. And then Sami was like, you're right. And then Ziggler and Roode came out, and then they did a really ineffective bait and switch to be like, why don't you two teams fight each other? And then you could face us for the Raw Tag Team Championships. But then they just started beating up the New Day, and then Street Profits came out. It was weird.
Now, Pete, there are, I believe in this match, or in the heel tag team here, Baron Corbin has not got a match this weekend. So
correct.
So he could eat a pin and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Roode and Ziggler haven't got a tag team match this weekend at Survivor Series, so they could eat a pin and it wouldn't matter. Sami Zayn has got a match on Sunday, so he really shouldn't be buried or take a loss just before facing Bobby Lashley. Pete, who got pinned in this match quite easily?
That was Sami Zayn, mate. Intercontinental champion, Sami Zayn.
Yeah. And I know Sami's the chicken S word heel. And like, he's not being put over as a dominant kind of believable champion. But you don't have to beat him less than 2 days before he's supposed to take on Bobby Lashley, who has been a dominant United States champion. And now it just makes me feel like Sami's going to cheat a win.
The thing with Sami as well is that he's been portrayed as a really smart wrestler. He can outsmart anyone in the ring, but he got tagged in against his consent and just came in, took a spine buster, took a frog splash, and that was it. 1, 2, 3, Sami, Street Profits win. I was like, he took 2 moves, for the whole match. That's, like, he's your Intercontinental champion. Whatever, not like they care. It's fine. He was angry backstage and ran into Daniel Bryan. Bryan with his new haircut, who they announced was returning on the show for some reason. And then he starts mouthing off to Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan pushes him over. Cool. There's your next feud after Survivor Series, I guess.
Blood feud. Yeah. It'll probably be good wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
The report was that Daniel Bryan was next up for Roman Reigns. So maybe plans have changed there. Maybe Big E's going to go for Roman Reigns. Maybe it'll be, look, we gave Big E a push, and then he loses at TLC to Roman Reigns, and then he's in the mid-card for the rest of his career.
Yeah, gets eliminated first at Royal Rumble.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Big E's the sort of person who would start the Royal Rumble as well, because it's always good to start the Royal Rumble with,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we saw, and then it was the Otis thing where he got announced and he was going, as Otis does, and the Alpha Academy.
So then, so Adam Pearce announces Otis, shakes his hand, turns around, Natalya's there, and then she says, "Oh, so you do have the power to just put people in a match. Can you just put me in the match then?" Totally reasonable request, by the way. She's Natalya. She's probably earned, a little bit of respect in her career from backstage personnel. And there's 2 spots left. It's not like she's taken the last spot or anything. And he goes, no. You see, I could pick one person for the SmackDown women's team as well. And I chose Bayley. And it was like, why? What?
I mean, you would choose Bayley.
Oh,
but
totally.
Why is he only got
one? That.
So, but I guess that 4 men did qualify for the SmackDown men's team.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe from the start it was Adam. 4 people are going to qualify, but you can pick the last one. But
it wasn't the last one. He picked Bayley before Natalya qualified. So it was he picked the 4th member of the team, but left the 5th one open.
I feel so sorry for half this women's roster.
Tell me about it.
Like Billie Kay. I mean, I may never see Billie Kay again.
Yeah.
Apart from on Instagram and on her YouTube channel. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, she'll be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
But is she ever going to get anything other than being beaten by someone? I mean, they're ramming Carmella down our throats at the moment. Which was actually okay because it's sort of like, oh no, this match is on Sunday between Asuka and Sasha, but Carmella, there's still a feud between them. Yeah. So at least they're still doing that.
Yeah.
But, what happened next, Pete? After Natalya's hissy fit.
After that, Seth Rollins got a promo backstage. I actually really like this promo from Rollins because he kind of alternated between like angry whispering and just straight up shouting. Like he had so much anger in him that he was trying to keep in. And then he was just saying stuff really aggressively. And then he just starts shouting and then he'd go back to whispering again. And I was like, oh, so he's like trying to control his anger, but he can't. That's quite nice. I really like that promo style. Him just basically saying, Murphy, you suck. I'm going to beat you. Was essentially the gist of the promo. Because they're facing tonight, which would have been a really good pay-per-view match. But it's Brand Warfare month, so you can't have that. So it's got to go on TV.
And mega heel Seth Rollins has got to go and look after his very soon to be newborn child. So, but the report is that he won't be gone for long. He'll be back in December sometime. Mm-hmm. Well, he won't be gone for long, but it does feel like this was an end to the feud.
Yeah, we'll get onto the match later. Yeah, we'll get onto the match later, but it was a weird one. After that, we got the qualifying match for Natalya versus Tamina. Went about 2 minutes. Natalya won with a sharpshooter. Bianca Belair was on commentary, and then Bayley came out and put herself on commentary and called herself the captain of the team, which is a nice Bayley thing to do. I appreciated that at least. Michael Cole had a weird line saying that Bianca Belair was on Team NXT last year at Survivor Series, but now she's on the real team on SmackDown. I was like, Cole, NXT won last year, you moron. Everyone forget that.
Yes. So after the match, all the women, all the
SmackDown women standing in a row.
Bayley, mega heel, tried to kill Sasha Banks, crushed her windpipe. Bianca Belair, who's not, I wouldn't say a babyface, wouldn't say a heel. She's just kind of a badass who sees herself as the best. She is the EST. So she therefore is a bit of a lone wolf, is in this team because she wants to win. But then they all just hold hands.
Yeah.
And Natalya, they look like they're the 5 finalists in a rubbish talent competition. Natalya's just qualified for 5th place in the beauty pageant. But almost because I don't know. Okay, here's how I'm interpreting this photo. Bayley is the director of the school art of the school production because she's in the leather jacket and the jeans.
Yeah,
and the other 4 were in the dance.
Yep.
This isn't pro wrestling. Sorry. It's like, look how happy we all are. We are women and we are pleased. Like, that's like, can you imagine if the five guys from SmackDown all came out and went, yeah, like, you should be portraying your men and your women in the same way. This is like, look, we're putting women on TV. No, what you're doing is going, yeah, we're all best friends because we're women. And then there'll be a feud in 2 weeks saying, but they were on the same team. They were best friends when they were on the Survivor Series team. Are
you okay, Datson?
Yeah,
you're right, bud.
I just hate that. Yeah,
I know, it was really dumb. And there was a bit where they tried to do it where like Bayley was trying to get everyone to hold their hands up, and some of them were like hesitating, but then they all did it. So there you go. That's it. Screw your baby faces and heels and your history between one another. Let's just all hold hands because it's brand warfare. We all like SmackDown, everybody.
And they've not been doing this with Raw. Like, all the Raw people hate each other. That's how. Yeah.
How will they coexist?
I know they keep saying that, but I'd rather they have that tension than just, yeah.
And we're all friends. After that came a video package between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I'm very excited for that match. And then came the contract signing between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I'm still very excited for that match. They for some reason, I feel like they had to fill some time here. So they hit Drew McIntyre. He came down and did his cool entrance and sat down at the contract signing table. Roman Reigns' music hits, and then he's waiting, and he's waiting, and he's waiting, and he's waiting. And then Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman come out. I was like, why did you just wait there for like 30 seconds? What was...
Drew farted, and they were like, let's give it a sec.
Let it dissipate a bit first.
But,
yeah.
I had a point about this. Oh, yes, no. But you know what, Pete? Obviously, we've got these kind of static cameras when we do this. But don't you think it would be better if this segment, or if our podcast went more like this?
Really good content for podcast listeners, by the way.
Yeah, just lots of camera shot. Like, oh my God, it was so annoying.
It was obnoxious in the segment.
Sitting down having a chat. Like, it's not a wrestling match.
Jeez.
And it was like, here's his face. Here's a wide shot. Here's his face. Oh, he looks sad. Ooh, look at that. Yeah. Podcast listeners, I was just dancing around the screen. Being annoying.
It was bonkers. It was insane. Like, the camera cuts I normally can deal with. Sometimes they get in the way during a match, and sometimes they'll miss something, or something won't look as good because the camera's too like zoomed in or far out or something. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys, you should do better than that. But generally, I'm like, it's okay. I can deal with it. I'm used to it. These camera cuts really annoyed me when they were having a chat. I was like, I just want to see Roman talking. That is literally it. And occasionally, maybe after 30 seconds, give me a wide shot so I can see how Drew's reacting to it. And that's it. That is all I need. And it was just constantly like, Roman, Drew, wide, Roman, Drew, wide, Roman, wide, Drew. I was like, guys, they're just sitting. They're sitting. Nothing's happening.
Kevin Dunn's in the back, one of those like he's got one of those dance machines which is altered, and every time he steps on one, it changes the camera angle.
He's playing DDR with the cameras.
Yeah,
mental.
I feel like we're just being grumpy old men, but like
we are. But this was so annoying.
But over like 90% of this was great. It was
so good.
Just the camera cuts. It's just very distracting.
Yeah,
because you want to be listening, because the stuff in the ring was really good. The content, the what they were saying, the lack of microphones and stuff like that, the how it felt so real, that was great.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to give me a seizure by just 9 million camera cuts, that's what I'm going to remember.
Yeah. It's so annoying because, like you said, I think what makes it more frustrating was the segment was so good without the camera cuts. If they just took it easy, it would have been a brilliant segment. It was still great, but it was just marred by that. One last negative point before I talk about all the positive stuff from this segment. Michael Bloody Cole on Roman Reigns' entrance just saying, like, this is about bragging rights. I went, ugh, God, I hate that so much. Why would anyone care about bragging rights?
Why
would anyone care to be like, I'm a champion? It's like, I'm also a champion. Like,
one more mini negative. They put the 2 belts on the front of the table, and I was like, good God, they are so ugly. Like, why would you put those at the front of the table? they just look like, honestly, I wrote a piece about them last week. It's just like a rubbish children's craft fair. Like, they've been given the logo and like, right, put this on some felt.
They're toys. They're designed to sell toys.
And they do. They do.
Yeah,
they absolutely
do.
sell. So in terms of that, great. But I don't want one. And that's the main thing.
So that's the negatives of the segment out of the way. Here's some positive stuff. Bloody loved it when Roman came out, sat himself at the head of the contract table. Oh, so good. Well done for that. Whoever thought to not have them sitting across from each other and put Roman at the head of the table, job well done. That was great. And yeah, like you mentioned earlier, they didn't use microphones for this segment. It was just them talking. They turned up the microphones like they normally do for like Roman and the Jey stuff that they've done before. They just turned up the microphones in the ring so that they just got to sit and talk to each other. No microphones in the way, no nothing. It was just them talking. And the promos they cut were really good, of Drew signing the contract, and he handed it over to Roman, but he didn't let go initially, and Roman just kind of took it, but couldn't actually take it off Drew. And Drew just like telling him that he needs to prepare for war, and like Roman coming back and just being like, War Games! I was so happy he got to say that on NXT. It's a running joke in my friend group of William Regal's War Games, and just him coming out and them hyping it up on NXT, and him just looking around for ages and just going, War Games! I was like, he said it! He said the thing!
He said the thing!
Anyway, yeah, and like Roman's response to being like, you're a secondary champion, no one's going to know who you are, I'm Roman Reigns, I'm the best. Obviously, he cut a better promo than that, but the actual content of the promo and the way they did it was brilliant. I really like the fact that no one went through the table. They're saving the physicality between these two until Survivor Series, which is great. It feels like we haven't seen these two wrestle before, even though we totally have at WrestleMania 35. They had a Mania match, but it doesn't matter because Drew's an entirely different character to who he was then. And this is an entirely different match. And I'm so excited for it.
Did Brock Lesnar ever kick out of a Claymore? Or did he never get... Did Drew wait until it hit a few before he pinned him and that was it?
I think that's more right. Yeah, I think he hit like 2 or 3, but he didn't attempt to pin.
Because I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm sure I'm going to get corrected in the comments, and that's fine because I like good to learn. But I feel like it could be one of the first times, if not the first time, we might see the Claymore get kicked out of tomorrow.
Oh, that would be such a good moment.
Because this match this match has Paul Heyman written all over it. It's going to be big move, big move, big move, Superman punch, spear, Claymore, no sell out of a spear.
Yeah.
Shouldn't no sell out of a Claymore. Just because
no,
I like the
you
Claymore.
Shouldn't no sell out of a Claymore. You shouldn't no sell out of a spear either, really.
But I wouldn't mind if Roman kicked out because he is this, like, Drew needs to hit a Claymore. And if Roman doesn't kick out, I'm like, oh, Drew won. And I do think Roman's winning, maybe.
I'd really like it if Roman did his kick out of the Claymore where he punched him in the nuts as he kicks out the Claymore. I think that would be awesome. And then after that, but then Drew no sells that punch to the nuts and gets up and he's like, how dare you, and hits another Claymore, and then he wins.
He hits the Claymore and then he's like, oh crap, and then he just pulls out that sword and is like, here's my real Claymore, and just kills Roman.
Just beheads him straight in the ring.
Wouldn't even, this match could go 5 minutes and I still think it'll be great because it's just going to be beef like it was Survivor Series Brock and Goldberg, and which was a Paul Heyman match. So, and he knows how to book big sweaty man against big sweaty hairy man.
I'm hoping it does go longer than 5 minutes, though. I don't want a Lesnar match out of this. I don't want a Goldberg match between out of these two because they are really good wrestlers, both of them. And I feel like they could work a 15, 20-minute match and it would be just as beefy and big hitting as a 5-minute Lesnar match. And I think they could get something really special out of it if they wanted to. Because these two are the two biggest stars in WWE right now. And I think putting them together was a very smart move, but now you have to follow through on that and make the match amazing out of it. And I know they have the capability to, so hopefully they do.
Yes.
After this, we got the supposed blow-off to the feud, Seth Rollins versus Murphy. Really would have liked to see this on pay-per-view, but it's Survivor Series, so guess not. Murphy was accompanied by the Mysterios. It was like, Seth versus the Mysterios, it's carrying on vicariously. It's still there, but hey-ho. I really liked a moment at the start of this match where Murphy runs down onto the apron, Seth knocks him off, Ray and Dominic run up next to Murphy and just be like, oh, are you okay? Murphy gets up and kind of holds them both back and just being like, I got this. And I was like, okay, this is going to be like, this is Murphy's match to win. He's going to come out of this, he's going to beat Seth, and he is going to be like, this is his flag in the ground kind of moment of being like, I'm here in WWE. Everyone should pay attention to me. I'm like a future major star in this company. And I was like, okay, I'm into this. Let's see what Murphy does here. He got dominated in this match for about 97% of the match.
So here's a pop culture reference. This is going to make it all the kids think I'm cool. This felt, in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where Chancellor Palpatine says to Anakin and Obi-Wan, oh, you've got no chance against him. He's a Sith Lord. And then Obi-Wan turns and goes, Chancellor, Sith Lords are our speciality. When they actually are terrible against Sith Lords. Last time they faced this guy, they almost both died. And it was kind of like Murphy saying, guys, I've got this.
I got this.
No. You've lost every single time. I don't think you do have this. And then he ends up winning by no spoilers for Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, but it's it did feel a bit like, guys, why don't you trust me? It's like, because you've lost every time and you're just pretending you're good. And then he carried on to almost prove that he sucked, because every time he tried to attack, Seth just beat him up.
Seth just stopped, and he just beat him up forever.
And then it was like that moment where your little brother, who you always beat in games, learns that your characters can't block one move, and he just keeps pressing a button, and it was like knee, 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 and you're like, stop it! I can't block that. My character's got the capability. Knee. This is like, fine, and then eventually, and then it was like KO.
That is exactly how this was. Murphy didn't get in, like he got in like a kick maybe throughout the whole match, and then it was just knee. Murphy's Law. Murphy wins, and I was like, wait, what? Because it was supposed to be like, this is Murphy's big thing. He's overcome Seth Rollins and he's free from Rollins' shackles, and great feeling. But I was like, but he just got beat up. Like, he won, sure, but like not very convincingly. Yeah. So it didn't feel like the big coming out moment that it should have been for Murphy.
In the wrestling bubble, this totally makes sense, because this is how it goes. This is, we don't want you near our family. Oh, but you beat up the guy who's been terrorizing our family. That's okay. But it's just for a second, imagine you have kids and one of them keeps getting beaten up by someone, and then that person then starts hitting on your daughter, and your daughter falls in love with him, and then the guy says, oh no, actually I'm a good guy, and then beats up someone else who's been terrorizing your family. You're like, oh mate, welcome to the family. No, you're still going to hate that guy for hitting on your daughter and beating up your other child.
Yeah.
But wrestling is wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling.
And I don't know where this is going to go from here. I don't know whether we're going to see them just being happy families until Seth gets back. I don't know whether Buddy's just going to feud with with Ray soon.
I've got a prediction. We'll never see Aaliyah again. That's it. Buddy will just be his own person. Ray and Dom can go and do whatever they want to do. They'll never be seen together again. Buddy and Aaliyah will never be seen together again. But they might mention it on commentary once or twice, to be like, Buddy going out with Aaliyah Mysterio, of course. And that's it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vince is trying to get Aaliyah to train as a wrestler.
That also would not surprise me.
Because she's got the look that she's physically got the look that Vince likes, that WWE likes. She's got the name. Mm-hmm. She's been on TV, so they can call back to that. She's used a kendo stick already. I wouldn't
she's
be
basically a wrestler.
Surprised if she's been training with her dad and her brother, like, to take a few bumps, like, even if it's just to have a match at some point.
Big WrestleMania match.
Yeah, like, it could even, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, it could be Ray, Dominic, and Aaliyah in like a mixed tag against
The Fiend and Alexa Bliss.
The Fiend, the Fiend, Bo Dallas, and Alexa Bliss.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. This, we may never see Aaliyah again, but I think if Vince has his way, Aaliyah will have had a match by, I don't know, 2022.
Yeah, this is possible. And just to cement the fact that this totally is not Murphy's moment to overcome Rollins properly. They want to protect Rollins as much as possible. They're like, well, we'll give Rollins a loss, but we don't really want him to look worse than Murphy here. Murphy celebrating with Mysterious for about 3 seconds, and then Sasha Banks' music hits, cuts to Sasha Banks, and it's not that one anymore. And then Michael Cole just goes, "It's boss time. Sasha Banks next." Ad break. I was like, okay, so Murphy doesn't get to celebrate his win? Okay, sure, whatever. Why do I even go through it anymore? Who knows? Sasha Banks and Asuka were next that had a promo segment. I thought this was pretty bad, if I'm honest. Yeah. Sasha Banks said, "I'm going to beat you." And then Asuka started listing off other wrestlers' catchphrases. Did I miss something there?
That's what I guess. Asuka, the character for Asuka at the moment is that she's just rambled nonsense. I mean, remember her in that court scene with Miz and stuff, where she just goes, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying Japanese is nonsense.
And then she did holla holla holla.
Yeah,
and then that was it.
So, as you point out in your news review of it, like this comes out earlier today, I guess. Now that when this comes out, why didn't they have a contract signing? Yeah, because it's the same thing. It's the top champion on SmackDown versus the top champion of Raw. They just had a bad segment where they just talked at each other, and then Carmella turned up and did a relatively unconvincing beatdown of Sasha, like she has done for the last 3 weeks. Yep. This is not how you build a match. How you build a match is how I've only had a limited time with Roman and Drew, but I really want to see this match. I cannot say the same for this one.
And they've had longer to build this match than Drew and Roman.
Much longer.
Yeah. And Asuka just watches while Carmella beats down Banks because she's a babyface.
Brand warfare. She doesn't want Sasha Banks to have an advantage going into Sunday.
Brand warfare. Then we had a promo with Jey Uso backstage with Kayla Braxton. And then it was time for the main event, the go-home show for Survivor Series, the big go-home angle that's going to make you want to buy the pay-per-view. It's Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso, which has no stakes for Survivor Series. Granted, really like this match, really like both these guys, great story they're telling, really invested in the story. Rubbish angle for a go-home show, but hey-ho, does not make me more excited for the pay-per-view.
This wasn't the main event, Pete. The main event was Michael Cole screaming at the end to tune in tomorrow. Undertaker's coming back tomorrow. Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre. That was the main event segment. That's made me want to watch it. Actually, that made me want to watch it more than this match. Although I did, again, like you said, this match was great. But you did just have a guy who's in the Survivor Series team lose again. But I guess you've got to push Daniel Bryan. I guess it was a good match, so it left people on a kind of, good match. That was nice. It's a nice way to end SmackDown. But yeah, again, if you're peeling it back a bit, a couple of layers, you're like, did they need to do that? Did they need to give Jey a loss again? I mean, Jey lost last week, now Jey lost again. I
don't mind the fact that Jey lost because of the way that the match went, because Jey took a lot of the match working over Daniel Bryan's kind of his back and his kidneys and things like that throughout pretty much the whole match. And then they're so good at wrestling that I really bought into the beatdown, which means I then bought into Daniel Bryan's comeback. Really good stuff. And then the ending I thought was really good in that he was going for the yes lock and Jey squirmed out of it and tried to like roll him up and stuff. He managed to hit a couple super kicks, almost hit a splash on him, but he countered again. But then Bryan only just managed to get a roll up victory, which it felt like to me they were really even. On like another day, Jey would have won. Which to me, really put both of them over on like a really even playing field. And I thought they've done a really good job of making Jey feel very believable at a top level on SmackDown, which was amazing.
I mean, what I think they might be kind of going for is Jey lost last week and Jey lost this week. So there's the kind of, is he up to being Roman's kind of henchman? But then I wouldn't be at all surprised if Jey is the sole survivor.
That's what I was going to say.
Tomorrow. And to be like, and then Roman will stand there watching from ringside, going, yes, I've chosen the right man.
It will be weirdly inversed. It will be Jey like a 2-on-1 disadvantage, but then Roman will come out on the stage, and then Jey will like manage to overcome those two.
He will go Super Saiyan because his cousin is there. Yeah,
it's like the babyface move, but it's for Jey, and everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want you to see you do that." I think that might be really fun, but the match was really good. Daniel Bryan won. Jey looked kind of shocked afterwards, but he got the roll-up loss. Daniel Bryan went on the turnbuckle and did yes, and Michael Cole screamed at us, "It's Undertaker's final farewell. We've got to do tune in, Survivor Series!" And then that was the show.
Yes.
I didn't think this was a good show. According to the poll that we do on Twitter now, go follow our Twitter, by the way, because YouTube took out the poll functionality off their site entirely, so we do the polls on Twitter now. But according to the poll over on Twitter, 50.7% of people voted it as a good show, and 18.2% went even higher at excellent, 17.1% at poor, and 14% at terrible. I went for poor because I thought that it was a bad go-home show for one of your big four pay-per-views. It wasn't that they didn't try to build Survivor Series, because they did. They had a lot of segments and promos trying to build the show. It's that it was a very ineffective build. It's that I don't think there's any people that really care more about Survivor Series coming out of the show than when they went into it. It was a really ineffective build.
I think a trick a lot of the times with these things is if the last thing on the show is good, like that's a good match, that's what people remember, and people go, "Yeah, I liked that," and then they'll click good. I mean, absolutely. Do you know what? And we are bitter and old, and we watch too much, but like, I like the fact that some people can still be positive about it, because that's a nice thing. So I'm never going to say you're wrong, everyone, for saying it was good, because absolutely, if you liked it, then more power to you. I would. Yeah, I wish there was a 3 out of 5. Yes, on that poll. 2.5 out of 5. Somewhere between poor and good. Pretty average, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was an ineffective go home show, but the stuff that was good was really good, I thought. But unfortunately, the majority of that stuff was the stuff that wasn't about Survivor Series, which is what they're supposed to be building for tomorrow. So,
do you know what isn't ineffective?
What's that?
Supporting us on Patreon.
Yeah, what a great segue. If you haven't been to WrestleTalk's Patreon page yet, you should. Loads of extra bonus content over there. WrestleTalk Extras just gone live recently, which is Ollie and Luke reviewing Survivor Series 2001, the winner-take-all Alliance versus WWF match. Quite the show. It's them reviewing that. That's just gone up recently, plus loads of other benefits, including if you pledge at the $25 tier or above, you get your own custom wrestling nickname, and it gets read out on a show much like this one. So thank you to Robin Banks, Lee Roberts. Woo! Thank you very much.
The Fitness Consigliere, Scott Michael.
Fitness Consigliere is what it is. It's a dodgeball reference, but hey ho.
I have seen that.
Super Kick Party! Andy Buckley. Woo!
Oh, good first name. We're going on a Brian Huntley.
Yes, we are. Thank you very much. Always leave the crowd wanting Brian more. Woo!
Oh, absolutely. Jam that, James Dillon. Oh, what a great catchphrase.
Thank you very much. Moving sideways, Kieran Crabtree.
Oh, always moving sideways. You'll never get this name right, you idiots. Matthew.
Nope. Give it a go.
Nijuski Zmeskevskile.
Yes, an attempt was there. Nick Bitchin Kitchen.
Oh, great name. Infinite Crisis, Chris Jenkins.
Woo, yes, thank you very much. Vito Ventura, Pet Detective. Woo.
Oh, absolutely. Have a glass of sherry, Martel J. Simmons.
Woo, yes, thank you very much. The Harbinger, Doom Lion. Woo.
Oh,
thank you very much.
The Lunatic, Moxley's Fringe.
Thank you very much. And finally for today, the King, Zachary McKinley. Woo! Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, all our Patreon backers, and thank you for watching. Please press the videos that just appeared on the screen to catch up with more awesome WrestleTalk content, and the button on the middle that make you become a pledge hammer on Patreon. Stay tuned for Survivor Series live reaction Survivor Jams tomorrow on WrestleTalk, as well as our Losers Lounge over on Wrestle 2 as well. I've been Corporate Chopper. I've been joined by Andy Datson, and that was SmackDown.